All right, welcome to Converse. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the session, Transforming Your Meeting Rooms into Microsoft Teams Enabled Rooms, presented by Graham Walsh. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody to my session. So first of all, I just want to start off with thanking all the sponsors that have made this online Converse session happen, and in such a short space of time. The team have done a fantastic job, and really pleased here to be invited to speak to you about Microsoft Teams and how we can move our rooms to native or certified solutions and have that great rich Teams experience that we have. So a quick intro about myself. I've been in IT all my life. I was going to be an accountant, but thankfully I didn't do that. And I've worked in many different areas, from being the end user right up to a vendor where I am and have been for a while. And today, currently, I work at Crestron, looking after our UC product portfolio across EMEA. So I get to play with all the latest and greatest toys, all based on Teams. And I have a blog at graham-walsh.com, so you can follow that if you like. There's lots of good tips and tricks on current MTRs, setups, and how you do all that. There's also a lot of rich history as well with Cloud Video Interop, where I used to work. And also, many years back, there's also a lot of stuff on Polycom, but most of that's now been replaced with cloud services. So again, you can also follow me on Twitter, where I'm quite active, and also on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow me on there as well. And then more recently, I actually sat the Teams Administrator certified exam, which I was quite surprised, and studied a little while for it. Not much, as I probably should have done, but it was a good test and a good exam to take. So that was certainly fun, especially clearing your workspace ready for a remote proctored exam. As I've seen before, your workspace must be immaculate. So what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve, been using Teams. Everyone's been doing it today and the last couple of months. We've been working remotely, and we've all got used to being able to use Teams effectively, or as best we can in our environments. And when we start to go back to the home, from home to the office, we want to have that experience there as well. And the question is, how do we achieve this and make it seamless? Because we've all communicated on Teams from our laptops or desktops or tablet devices with each other in meetings. So how do we achieve this when we move back to the meeting room? And if we look at the areas within the office, we've got different areas, and we must be able to cater for all these spaces, that we can ensure that wherever we have a system or a device, we can make it Teams enabled, or at least have it join a Teams meeting. And the key here is about consistency. So wherever you are throughout your day, when we go back to that office or that workplace, can we successfully have all these different workplaces and also have a Teams meeting and have that great experience? So there's none of this, can you hear me? Can you see my content? It should all work seamlessly first time. So we have to take into all these different room environments the consideration of how do we do this. So again, consistency. So maybe I'm working at a desk or a hot desk area. First thing in the morning, I could be doing a Teams phone call. I could be using a Teams certified device for voice at my desk, or even a headset on my laptop to do my meeting. And then I might go to a breakout room, and I go into that room. I want to be able to join a Teams meeting, and I want to make it simple. I don't want any complex things to dial in or type. And again, moving around the office throughout the day, you're going to experience different rooms, different technologies in these rooms. You want them all to be Teams enabled and super simple, that you just walk in and ultimately press the join button and you're in the meeting. So what can we do with our existing rooms? So a while back, Microsoft came up with the idea of a feature called Cloud Video Interop. And this is about bringing your VTCs, or video teleconferencing units, so your traditional Cisco, Polycom, life-size systems, into the Microsoft Teams world. And it's called an interop service. And today, there are 3 main vendors that offer this service, BlueJeans, Pexip, and Poly. And they all have their different flavors of how they can offer the service. BlueJeans is a cloud only. Pexip does cloud and on premises, and the same with Poly. And then announced at Ignite in 2019, a new vendor to the space would be bringing Cloud Video Interop to the space, and that would be Cisco. So along with a lot of other features, such as guest join access and other SBCs that they're certifying, Cisco will come into the Video Interop party. Now, again, a lot of this has been delayed, should we say, due to COVID-19 and delays in development. So again, they're slated to happen later on this year. So that'll be the fourth certified Interop partner there. So what does this give us? Well, it gives us the ability to dial into your Teams meeting. Some vendors will provide a join button. So when you walk into that traditional conferencing room, you have that touch panel, you have a join button, and in the background, it will dial the Teams conference ID. So it gives you voice, it gives you video, and it gives you content sharing. And again, what you have on the system, if you have some systems inside your network, they can be treated as trusted endpoints, which means they join the meeting and bypass the lobby. Untrusted could be third parties that join your call. So just like you do someone outside your tenant, they can be forced to the lobby, and you have to admit them through your Teams client and allow them into your meeting. And then finally, the roster list control, that's where you have to control it from your Teams client. You don't see that on the traditional VTC, you just see your connection to the Teams gateway. So what do? So we schedule a meeting just like we would normally in Teams. So we start up a new meeting, whether it's an Outlook on the web, Outlook on the desktop, Outlook on the Mac, and we just create a new Teams meeting. And depending on your settings, you'll have some voice dial-in details if you have conferencing, and then you'll also have VTC dial-in details. So you'll have these 3 extra lines of details that will then provide the end user the details on how to dial into this conference. They dial a SIP URI followed by conference ID, or you have the alternate dial-in instructions, which means you click on that link and it tells you how to dial in other ways if you want to do an IP dialing, etc. So it gives them an easy way to join the conference. And if you forward this to your room mailbox of that system, that VTC, then again, that can interpret this join instructions as well. So all these details are actually in the headers. So those VTCs, if they're registered in Exchange, for example, then they can get that one-click join experience in those rooms as well. So it makes it super simple. So just like you have in a native Teams room, you walk in and you have a join button. So you simply click on that meeting and you're there in the meeting. And if you're internal, obviously it's a trusted device. If you're external, that could be placed in the lobby. So it's a nice way to have the traditional video devices not left behind. So what can we do with the desk or sort of cubicle space? Some people love a desk phone. They love having a device on the desk. They love a handset to slam down. A headset that isn't easy to slam down. You don't get the same effect. And on these devices, the software is provided by Microsoft. So all the vendors that make the Teams certified devices follow the same sort of Android app that's on these devices. But again, there's also, if you've got existing devices, there's third-party integration, and that will fade out at some time. So at some point, you're going to need to move to a native Teams phone. And that again goes back to this, where you are in the day, you've got this consistent user experience. So what do we have in this space? So we've got some solutions such as Poly, the Alara, which is actually could be a great device in this world now, where we dock our device in the dock. And that means we use our phone to dial the number. It's got a Teams button, etc. So there's a couple of different options from different vendors: Audio Codes, Yealink, Crestron, and Poly. And so there's lots of devices for different size rooms, common areas, execs. So lots and lots of choices on how you want to look after this sort of desk experience. So these are certified devices for these, let's call them smaller huddle spaces, or even maybe home workers who need that personal handset at home and not having to worry about a speakerphone at home when there's kids around maybe. And again, also at Ignite, Lenovo came out with a new category of a device called the ThinkSmart View. And it's got a touchscreen, an 8-inch touchscreen, again, also based on Android. And So the device is, sort of designed for this huddle space. It's, it's not a personal device; it's a shared space, and it can, what do we say? Have this shared account that people walk up to and use it, or you could have it at home. If you want a small sort of, I would call it a companion device, you could utilize it in there. But also in this, huddle space, do you book it out? And again, how the world has changed are people having more structured meetings and more manageable meeting spaces? And these are things to consider in this huddle space category. Do you want to just voice, or do you want it with video? These are some of the choices you have to make. And how do we fill this? Again, there's lots of options out there. So Poly have their new Trio C60, again audio only, that can fulfill this space. Crestron have their audio only Mercury, and you've also got the Poly Trio, the existing devices that you may be using today in Skype mode. You can convert them to Teams, and also you have the Yealink conference phone as well, and also the smaller Trio available too. So these are all available for these audio only spaces, whether they're at home or cubes or wherever you want just audio conferencing. All these devices are capable of doing this. And then very shortly, Crestron are going to launch their new Mercury Mini. That's launching next month, again, for the small space. And these devices can be used in pure audio only mode only, or again, they can be tethered to your device. So if you want to plug in the USB cable, you can do that. So how do we address the video space in these huddle areas? Well, Microsoft, again, at Ignite, lots of news at Ignite last year, had this new category called collaboration bars or focus rooms. And two players in the market here today. We have the Yealink VC210 plus the Poly Studio X30 and X50. So these devices are designed for, again, the small space, up to 4 people maybe, again, depending on what distancing rules you have in place now. So they can be used for these areas. Simply pair with a screen, and you have the touch controller there. For example, on the Poly, the Yealink, you get a little remote control, but you can also pair it with a touch screen. So I, for example, here use a 22-inch touchscreen, so you can pair devices nicely, and you can have that touch interface. It's slightly different to an MTR, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So what do we do about collaboration in these spaces? So again, you have a couple of options. You have the Surface Hub 2, that's available now. And this can be, your full experience. It's got the Teams client, it's got the 3x3 video now, and it's also going to be a companion mode to a Microsoft Teams room. So again, that was announced back at Ignite, and that will be coming into testing very shortly. And then finally, you have another category, the Windows collaboration displays. So these devices, again, used to annotate. There's video built in. So if you want to do this real rich collaboration, you can use the Surface Hub or the collaboration display. So what do we do when we look at small meeting rooms? So if you want to replace your existing video, let's say you've got your traditional video and you're looking to migrate to Microsoft Teams rooms, what have we got available? So there are 6 vendors certified for Microsoft Teams meeting rooms. And here we have the HP Slice, where they provide compute, speaker, and obviously a touch panel. So you just need to pair it with a camera, with the device, again, USB certified peripherals that can be connected, and that can be your Microsoft Teams room. Again, Yealink have a product in this low-end category for the small rooms, where they provide your touch panel, microphone, camera, and the compute. With Crestron, again, they have a couple of options of having the Mercury in the center of the table or the soundbar at the front of the room with the touch panel connected over the network. Then Yealink have, again, if you need a slightly decked mics, for example, you can have them placed around the room, or you can have the soundbar option as well. So again, having a nice, neat installation of everything sort of in the front of the room. Then you have the Logitech Tap. So they have their Tap controller, their Intel NUC, and for example here with that neat up camera that provides the speaker, microphone, and the camera. So again, different options, different solutions for different rooms, different layouts. And then finally we have final but one, we have the new Poly, their Poly G series. So this is the G40, and this contains a Lenovo compute, the Poly new touch controller, plus the studio for the camera and audio. And then finally, there's also the Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub, where that is a panel and compute all-in-one solution. Again, another option that you bundle your cameras with. So when we look at medium rooms, again, a couple of options you could look at here. You have the Crestron soundbar, you've got the Logitech camera, but you've now got the Rally camera. So rooms where you need pan tilt zoom, and you want speakers on the wall, you can have microphones on the table. So again, giving you lots of choice on where you want to be able to put the audio in the room. Again, Crestron have their Mercury, and Yealink have their MVC range. Then we move into large rooms. So how do we cater for these large spaces? And these large spaces could be, the large boardrooms, for example. So again, Yealink have a new solution with multiple cameras, and they go through this new camera hub. So they have their Nook, their PC that has the Microsoft Teams Room software on there, and they're able to have multiple cameras in these large rooms. And again, with the Logitech solution, you can have the Logitech Rally. Again, 2 microphones now, 2 speakers to fill this larger room with the audio and have that presence of good audio in the rooms. And again, same with the Lenovo. You can have the Hub 500, bundle that with Logitech Rally. So you can see a lot of themes here. They're all certified devices for Microsoft Teams. So you can pick and choose the vendor you prefer. If you've got Lenovo as your laptop and server vendor, you may want to choose that for your room collaboration too. So it gives you options and gives you choice that you can mix and match. You don't have to go with one brand. You can work what's best for your organization. And again, here we have the Logitech Rally solution with the Crestron system. So again, Crestron will sell just compute, and you can then bundle it with Logitech peripherals. And again, Logitech and Crestron made an announcement back in February about a partnership and how they're going to do interop between their platforms, and I can share a little bit of that later. And then we have the Poly Studio, Eagle Eye Director 2 here with the compute. So what we're able to do is able to utilize the new G80. This is what this is. Nick, I'm presenting. Be quiet, please. So with complex rooms, what we need to do is be able to control everything else around there. Usually you will have lights, blinds, maybe multiple screens, multiple cameras. So how do we do that? So there's two vendors that are able to do this in the market, Crestron and Extron. So for example here, you have in the bottom right-hand corner, you have a slider control. And what this enables you to do is add this room control. So you don't need 2 panels in the rooms. So when you click on this room control button, the layout then changes and shows you the room control. So you can have, for example, here, you can have some preset themes. So if you want to do an online meeting, it will lower the lighting and lower the blinds and set your room up exactly how you want it. So giving you end users the real simplicity on how they want to do all this room control. And how do we make up these complex or custom rooms? Well, again, a couple of options. Poly have their G10, which is their base package, which includes the touch controller and the compute. And then obviously you can build around camera solutions to that. Then we have the Crestron series that can do, again, single or dual screen. And of course, you can have a look at the Logitech Tap as well. And then when we look at how do we get audio in the rooms, again, Microsoft have a list of certified devices that can do the audio element of this. So here's a few here that are all certified. So you have the Shure, the Bose, Biamp, and Sennheiser, all have their DSPs and sort of ceiling microphones. And again, cameras. So as we saw previously, you have the Poly Eagle Eye Director 2. And just announced actually a few weeks ago, we have the Ava cameras now. So they are certified for Teams as well. And obviously the Logitech Rally. So very, very simple to do that. And again, looking at the installed audio, how do we get that in the room? Again, some certified devices from Shure. We also have the Ceiling tiles, so if anyone has seen these, they're very neat and go in the ceiling out of the way. Some people like to have a tabletop microphone, so you've got an easy mute button, for example. So again, you don't have to have two rooms the same. You can mix and match on how you want your rooms. Again, these are all sort of packages that you can look at on the Teams Devices website. And there's a link at the end as well that you can see all these different bundles. So, the larger rooms, you're looking at around $10,000. And, you can pick and choose the brands you prefer or the people you like to work with, for example, and build a solution based on your needs. Again, you can have multiple ceiling speakers or multiple tabletop mics. You can mix and match. It's entirely up to you on how you want to design your rooms. So what do some rooms look like? So here are some examples of customer deployments that we've seen online. So for example, in this room here, there's a sound bar and a touch panel all mounted on the wall, and it's actually paired with a Dell touchscreen. So it's using the MTR software, and it's using a USB connection from the screen to the NUC, the Intel PC, and it's sort of giving you this collaboration experience. So you're able to start the whiteboard from your Microsoft Teams client and then simply just annotate over the top when someone starts whiteboarding. So it's giving you this best of both worlds, a Microsoft Teams room plus touch. So it's sort of a hybrid between the Surface Hub and doing video. So it's giving users the options of how they want to interact with their rooms. Again, you can mix and match a soundbar here with a projector. So you don't have to use traditional screens. They can be paired with anything. It's a HDMI output to the device. Here in this example, again, a dual screen setup. This customer, they replaced their traditional VTC, but again, kept the screens, that they were good. They don't need to change, and simply installed the Crestron camera here and instead of the previous camera that was placed under there. Then we have sort of larger rooms. So as you can see here, they've got pendant microphones up there. They've got Eagle Eye Director, and they have some speakers on the wall. So again, very mixed environment of different technologies, different vendors, just giving them the right solution for the room. And even auditoriums. So going up to these large spaces, again, looking at the room control, that single panel on the wall there can control everything. The automated screen that drops down, you can build in sensors actually that can automate all this for you. Again, so you have a touch-free environment. Again, another look at a room using ceiling speakers, ceiling microphone. So everything's hidden out of the way, and on the table you've got multiple controllers. So these are options with different vendors, is that you can do this. So when we talk about room sizes, here's some guidance actually that I've seen from Microsoft on how you define a room. And again, everyone might class these differently, but this is, when you look at the Microsoft Teams Devices website, these are the sort of room sizes that Microsoft have as a guidance. And again, depending on your office space in London, where it's quite a premium, a medium room could be a small room, or a large room. Just because office space is that's a very different premium versus bigger landscape in the US. But these are some sort of guidance that Microsoft work towards when they specify and certify vendors for their devices and their solutions. So popular question that I get asked a lot is, what about collaboration bars versus Microsoft Teams rooms? So I put together a table, really. It helps identify what the differences are. So they're both available now. They both work, but they run obviously different OSs. The collaboration bars run an Android platform, very similar to what the phones are running. And the Microsoft Teams rooms, they run Windows 10 IoT Enterprise. And they follow the Windows updates from your normal desktop cycle. As of today, collaboration bars support a single screen, and then MTRs obviously can do up to 2 screens. I have seen talk that could change over time for the collaboration bars. It may be able to do a second screen, but there's no confirmation on that yet. Again, video resolution today 720p, but again, possibly that may increase over time as the platform develops. Remember, these were only launched back in November. and really only started shipping last quarter. So features are going to come out probably a lot more as the product develops as well. Probably a key thing here is if you are migrating from your Skype platform, you need to have some Skype meetings still. Collaboration bars do not support any form of Skype meetings, whereas the MTRs can join either or. So you'll have that icon in the top of the join button, and it'll be a Skype logo or a Teams logo. Again, whiteboarding, Meet Now, that's going to be available in a roadmap feature where you can walk up and do a Meet Now or call someone. Today, it's very much a scheduled environment. So it's something I mentioned earlier, our rooms or spaces are going to be scheduled or ad hoc. You need to think about where you're going to place devices and how they're going to be used. So whiteboarding, so that is supported on there. It's supported with the MTRs, but you must start it from your Teams client. That will shortly come to the MTR where you'll be able to initiate that whiteboard. The Magic Whiteboard, many of you may have seen a demo of this, where you can add an extra camera to the MTR and it can pick up a standard whiteboard and digitize that ink. Again, that's only available for the MTR solutions. It's not available for the collaboration bars. HDMI content, so this is a physical cable where you want to walk into a room, plug in your laptop and share your desktop or application. That's something you cannot do on the collaboration bars. That's certainly part of the product spec for the Microsoft Teams rooms. Again, has this one-touch join meeting experience as you would expect, as long as you invite it to a meeting with the Teams calendar invite. And if you've forgotten to do that, then you've got proximity join. So if you want to be able to walk in a room with your personal device and invite the room, it can pop up and say, do you want to join this meeting with room 12 or whatever it might be? And then it will auto answer if you've enabled it. So it's a nice feature, and it's great when it works, but it's quite limited to the room. You need to be very close to the compute in the room for this to work. I have actually tested with external Bluetooth adapters, so you could extend that to the center of the table, for example. So there's options and ways around there. You just obviously need to disable the onboard Bluetooth, so there's no conflicts. So when we look at guest join access, this is again feature announced at Ignite last year. This is where you'll be able to join Zoom and WebEx meetings as a guest. Again, destined for Microsoft Teams rooms. It's not for the collaboration bars that I know of. The WebEx is working. It's in tap, and soon to follow Zoom. That'll go into tap, and probably a GA August, September timeframe, I'm guessing. Maybe at the next Ignite could be a good timeframe. Who knows? And then finally, obviously, USB peripherals. So certified devices, you can add them onto your MTR. Collaboration bar is very much an all-in-one unit, and that's what you get, is what you see. So what's the latest version? So we have this new version called 4.4.63. That should be rolling out to all your MTR devices now. And the main feature is it fixed an issue with the Windows Store update on build 41. And a lot of people require this because there is this modern authentication. So MTRs do not support multi-factor authentication, and previously it was using basic authentication for Skype and Exchange. So now it fully supports modern authentication. So you can now actually go ahead and switch off basic authentication if you want to on your tenant. I know Starla has tested that, and it all works, it all logs in, so you can make everything secure within your environment. Guest join access, as I mentioned, this is coming soon. This is what it will look like. You send it the invite, you'll get the join button, and away you go. That's all the user needs to do, is click on the link and do it there. There could be some caveats in terms of safe links, but that'll all be published by Microsoft on guidance on how you do that. So how do we manage these devices? So again, coming soon, Microsoft again announced at Ignite the Teams Admin Center. So this is where you'll be able to have it as part of your management strategy, where you manage your phones, your collab bars. You'll also get Teams rooms. So you'll be able to see the status, you'll be able to see that everything's connected, that everything is healthy, download the logs, restart the system, edit any settings. So you'll be able to push these settings down to the device, and you can hit restart, and then those settings will apply. So basically sending out the XML config to the Teams rooms. And then you can drill down into the status and see that everything's connected, everything's well, what versions things are running on, and then start drilling down into core analytics. So being able to see the core data, how well was the call, how good was there any call, core quality issues. So it's all here in a central location, which is very, very nice. So this is coming soon, and it's I've heard it's very imminent and will be available very shortly. So this is going to be as part of your license built in. There's nothing to do. The systems can then auto register, and they'll appear in your Teams room settings. There are other options available. So for example, Crestron have their XIO cloud that sits in the Microsoft Azure IoT hub. And again, you can see the status of devices, reboot the devices. The one thing different that you can do here is set up alerts. So if a system goes offline, you can get this alert. You can also do things like Azure Log Analytics. You can set that up and set up alert in that way, which is another way of doing things. But Crestron obviously have their feature built in here. And again, very soon, they'll also offer people counting and alerting. So if a room is overloaded with too many people in a room, it can send up an email or an SMS alert, or send it to a Teams channel that, room 15 has got 6 people, it should only have 5. And they have some reports in here too, based on Power BI, if you want to drill down and look at these analytics. Then you have Logitech Sync. Again, they have their own portal, which is picking up the status of all the devices. Again, set up alerts, do firmware upgrades, all from their cloud. And as you see down here, coming soon, the sync data will be available in Crestron. So again, as part of this partnership between Logitech and Crestron, you can then bring all this data from the Logitech peripherals into the Crestron XIO cloud. So you don't need 2 portals to log into, you just log into one. So that's a good combination of using Crestron compute and touch panels with Logitech peripherals such as the Rally and Meetup. Yealink also have a service that can handle all their Skype and Teams phones. They have their management cloud service here where you can see everything. But there's no mention in their release notes of how they manage their MTRs. So that's something probably worth checking with Yealink on seeing how they manage theirs. They may have their own portal that you can do some of the firmware upgrades, etc. Lenovo also have a great tool called ThinkSmart Manager that has lots of features enabled that you can push down to the device. So you can again see the status of things, see if there's any issues, see the status of connectivity. And then also obviously make any changes. So push the changes down to the device. Again, it runs a small agent on the Hub 500, and then you can push all these settings down and enable them. So again, you don't have to physically visit the system. You can obviously do it all remotely from the console here. So what else do we have? So last night, Eric Marcy did a session on managing Teams rooms and devices. So again, if you want to view that, it was session 152. So that's available for you to go and look at shortly. And you can see how Eric talks about, again, the different devices and how you can manage them. So some important links. So these are sort of the critical things that I always refer people to. We look at the certified devices. The showcase that Microsoft have, aka.ms Teams devices, this is where they list certified devices. Just where you are in your region, it might be different. There's sometimes a delay. It might be in US English first, but not in, say, French. Sometimes it takes a while to certify all the devices and then put in the different showcases in their local languages. So if you're ever unsure, look in the US, and it's usually placed there first. There's a good place on the tech community as well for finding information out or posting questions. Again, a lot of people from the product group from Microsoft will reply on there and provide answers. There's also a Teams blog as well, that usually when Microsoft do an update to a build, they'll start a thread or a new blog, and again, lots of questions, and they get answered from the product group there. If you want any feature requests, don't forget you've got user voice, so you're able to put any questions there, put in feature requests. And again, if you want to put your MTR system into preview, you can join the TAP 100 program. So there's an option there. If you want to have a set devices, up to 5 devices, you're able to do that. And something new, myself and Jimmy Vaughan started a couple of months ago. We are hosting a community AMA, just all on MTRs. Usually we have a topic each month. And it's a free fall session, so you can come and ask questions whenever you want, post them to us, and we'll hopefully get answers to you. So again, each month we have a main topic, and next one is next Tuesday. So if you join the link here, you can then sign up and register, and we'll send you out a Teams invite. So really, just thank you for listening, and it'd be great if you fill in the survey, and there's a QR code, or you got the survey link there, and give us feedback on Comsverse and how it went for you and how you felt it was and how we can improve it. And then we look forward to seeing you in person. We've also got a breakout room that you can join in a few minutes, and we'll hand it over to Jan to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Graham. Great presentation. We'll now look at some of the questions. I answered one for you. It essentially was the generic question: where are the presentations available for download? Just go to the Comsverse Teams, and there's a channel that's called All Presentations. So you should be able to find per day the presentation. Not sure if you already uploaded yours.
I'll do that now.
Yeah, so then it will be immediately available. Then there's a question or a comment, just for your information, that some collab bars like the VC210 support me now already.
Okay.
So not really a question. And then there is one larger question.
Yeah.
Someone asking, just wondering about how increased enterprise demand for zero-touch meeting solutions post-COVID might impact the provision of Huddle and meeting spaces in general. Are we going to see more depth focused on voice, proximity meeting initiation rather than touch? And this person is really disappointed that you didn't do the presentation whilst doing a Peloton workout. I'm not sure about what that is.
That's what I did last night while watching the session. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of focus on touch. Again, on this voice activation. I won't say any names because it might set people's systems off at home. But yeah, certainly Microsoft and their flavor of their voice assistant is being looked at for the room devices. So that will help one area. There will be this, how do I walk in the room touch free? So one is the proximity to start your meeting. The next question is, well, how do I turn my screens on? Because I don't want to pick a remote up or touch a button. Again, vendors have sensors that you can put in the ceiling, PoE connected, and then that can be told if someone's in the room, turn the screens on, dim the lights. So like you saw on the Crestron control, where you can have some sort of presets, you could automate that touch free as well. So you can look at all this sort of, let's call it building management solutions that can be paired with MTRs to make this happen. So certainly I can see a trend of touch free happening. And again, when you look at ink and touching, do you give everyone their own little stylus that they have the ability to use their own personal touching device rather than touching the screen? And then again, there's some new features coming out from a vendor that I can't say, that they're having new surfaces on their touch panels to make them touch virus free, should we say. So there's a lot of focus on this area certainly, and that will come out soon.
Right, I think that's all the questions. So I'll post the link to the breakout room where you'll be handling some more questions, I guess, and some talks with the attendees. So just posted that link, and I think we can close out here now, and good luck for your next sessions.
Thanks very much.
Right, bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.